I'm saying? But we see a story here coming in, and there's some kind of legibility to it. You know what I'm saying? And I believe it's true. You know what I'm saying? In all ways. But the question remains is, why is it that these different groups of people could come to our country and they could do just about any damn thing, and then we hear about it? Saying, I don't know whether it's used as a way of exposing, or it's used as a way of conning, or it's used as a way of scaring, or it's used as a way to cover someone's ass. But we see where rancid Chinese run down laboratory in California that was experimenting with with HIV, herpes, and malaria could have sparked disastrous disease outbreak. Congressional committee warns. You know what I'm saying? By Luke Andrew, health reporter for the Daily Mail.com 1 day ago. Remember, it's here and there, but the information speaks for itself in all ways. It says a Chinese biolab in California, biolab in California, that contained hundreds of uh, vials of deadly virus could have sparked a major disease outbreak, a top house committee has warned. But the question is the bullshit that's going on? Yes, of course, the obvious question in itself. But the most obvious question of it all is, how the fuck they get to come in this country and do that at all? At all. But this is what we see. You know what I'm saying? And Dr. Brad, uh, what's the name? Winthrop, or whatever his name, a Republican congressman from Ohio and a chairman of the committee investigating the COVID pandemic, said in a remark on Wednesday that even a seemingly minor misstep, like accidentally tearing a protective glove, could have led to a disastrous leak from the laboratory. But how did they get to even have that dear? And how is they over here experimenting using HIV, herpes, and malaria? So malaria usually comes from mosquitoes. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times when you hear about malaria, you know what I'm saying, it is come from mosquito bites. So they putting HIV, herpes, and malaria into mosquitoes and sending them out into the general population to bite the people in California and give them these bullshit diseases into weaken, I guess, to weaken us from the inside out. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying, when we look at this, how did they get away with it? And is this a true to its letter based on what we see? Because when we look at many of the pictures of what they're showing us, you know what I'm saying, does not show very well here. You can clearly see that in that photo. You see what I'm saying? As we see. And as we go on, we see that in the photo, you know, as you can clearly see. A laboratory where they have boxes of the stuff even written up, and so on and so on. So, what is this really saying? And then they have this laboratory with all the different, and it looks like it's underground somewhere in itself. All kinds of bullshitable medicines and so forth. You could clearly see, you know what I'm saying, in more ways than one. What is that? And these people you're saying was doing this and doing that. What is that? You know what I'm saying? Let's just be honest here. You know what I mean? So how did they get to do all of this in our country, in, what I'm saying, and dealing with tuberculosis, meningitis, you know what I'm saying, rubella, COVID virus, and malaria. You know what I'm saying? In more ways than one. So how is they coming in our country and able to get away with this type of nonsense going on at the same time doesn't even make sense. And then at the same time, it still seems like some of the trouble is trying to be thrown off of Anthony Fauci having any involvement with this, and they being the corporate in itself backing up the lab leak in now. This still leads to back to Anthony Fauci, the killing reason, and the Biden crypto administration in itself. It doesn't shake any leg with just the Chinese and whoever they say because it's a rancid Chinese rundown laboratory in California. You know what I'm saying? So somebody had to let them in, and somebody was not on their job, but you damn sure was on woke and LGBTQ, sticking dick in a man's ass and all kinds of bullshit, rather than doing your job and being on top of this to see some shit like this was going on, say for so long, and only now you talking about it could have been a mistake because you finally caught it doesn't make any sense in itself. You know what I'm saying? It shows something is deadly wrong here. You know what I'm saying? But we see illegal factory based in Fresco, California was discovered by investigators in December 2022. You know what I'm saying? And contained biological samples of COVID, HIV, herpes, and malaria, you know what I'm saying, which are probably injecting or photolyzing it into mosquitoes amongst the virus samples, as all has hundreds of mice also, you know what I'm saying, can carry diseases very well that had been genetically, seeing genetically samples as well as hundreds of mice, you know what I'm saying, as hundreds of mice that had been generally, in more ways than one, generally altered to be, you know what I'm saying, more uh, susceptible to viral infections. You know what I'm saying? More susceptible to viral infections. The photo obtained by the DailyMail.com virus court documents at the time showing box stacked on top of each other at the lab with an investigation label revealing the faculty had received nearly 150,000 in fundings from the U.S. taxpayers. Imagine that. They were paying to biologically attack us. From what they're saying, we see nearly 1,000 mistreated and uh, malnutri- 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 malnutrition, malnutrition white mice. I guess they want to feed in the mice. You know what I'm saying? And then they're going to use all the mice into the public and probably give us antivirus. You know what I'm saying? The antivirus on these different viruses. So these are the attacks that they have been doing in itself, giving people what we call the antivirus. You know what I'm saying? Probably even going to different places and releasing them while they're acting like they're going to play golf. You know what I'm saying? But we see and all kinds of insects and biological attacks on our country. You know what I'm saying? So we need to be very careful and very looking very sharp in all corners of our eyes and using our third eye to see beyond what this bullshit is. But we see the malnourished, um, malnourished, whatever, white that white lab mice were discovered at a faculty in the suburb in a subpar condition. About 200 of them were already dead. The rest had been, you know what I'm saying, what? Human, humanity emphasized by a veterinarian. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the fuck they talking about. You know what I'm saying? But we see among hundreds of the virus, you know what I'm saying, the hundreds of the virus of infections, viruses and bacteria, many of which were stored improperly in a shade in a what shady or shody or whatever freezer, you know what I'm saying, where samples of malaria shown as alongside, you know what I'm saying, Chinese characteristics and written notes. You know what I'm saying? Other infectious agents, including strains of the herpes virus and uh, bacterialism that cause meningitis, and I guess what I don't know the name of that, Shamadilla, whatever, Sharina, COVID, and HIV. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, they were they was very popular. They ain't been doing what they were doing, but that don't make no sense still because how was it allowed and how was it not seen till now? You know what I'm saying? And you're talking about during the election time as well. So you was planning to they were planning to attack us, you know, saying using all kinds of strategical measures of poison and biological attacks. You know what I'm saying? This is some bullshit that we're seeing in these times. And they're hearing today on this the strengthening in the strengthening of the biolab regulations nationally and internationally. Dr. Weistrop, you know what I'm saying, Winstrop, I'm sorry, you know what I'm saying, the Winstrop, the need of a select subcommittee on the COVID virus pandemic said lab leak can occur for a multiple could occur for a multitude it could occur for a multitude of reasons. From what he's saying, they can occur because the mishandling or the because of mishandled biological materials escape aerosol, laboratory design flaws, and human errors, which can be as simple a as falling to or failing to wear protective equipment or accidentally puncturing a glove. You know what I'm saying? Such an accident could easily have occurred in uh, Fresno County, California. You know what I'm saying? From what we've seen, this was where a Chinese company operating an illegal laboratory where it conducted dangerous experiments involving COVID 19 and other viruses. You know what I'm saying? It still does not explain why it is that you had caused such a great vaccinical or vaccine uproar. Inside, it sounds like this is trying to get Anthony Fauci to look kind of good somewhere. And even if it was, did it come from there or whatever they're talking about based on the fact that you are making these things and putting them out there doesn't show that the fact that there is any excuse for them to be in our country even fucking around anything close to this type of bullshit. So how long have they've been doing this in all parts of the world is the question that we must ask. You know what I'm saying? But when we look at the situation, you know what I'm saying, we see here where this was a Chinese company operating illegal laboratory where it conducted dangerous experiments involving COVID 19 and other viruses. You know what I'm saying? Inside the lab, authorities found hundreds of mice, I guess they let out all over the country to infect everything else across the board that had been genetically modified to catch and carry the COVID 19 virus, trying to make it true. This is troubling, as we already know. These lab-related incident is not contained and can cause, a predictable but dangerous consequences. Except no, experts warn in more ways than one. Experts have warned in more ways than one. Oh, excuse me, people here. You know what I mean? In more ways than experts have warned in more ways than one. You know, of the disaster, this bullshit that we see right here. The experts warned the legal lab was detected when the illegal lab was detected, it raised it raised the risk of virus escaping and causing widespread infections in the community. They also warned because of the unsafe conditions and pathogens could have settled on the packaging using for COVID and pregnancy tests that were being stored in the warehouse, putting customers at risk of infections. So they had this inside of a store. Wow. The discovery of the faculty is is made even more concerning given the suggestions COVID-19 escaped from a lab in China. Also, now we're taking the blame back on ourselves and saying that it could have possibly happened here. But many experts believe that the COVID pandemic was sparked by a lab leak from the Wanao Institute of Virology, the WIV, in China, which was known for experimenting with COVID viruses. Imagine that. They're nasty ass. And I still don't believe it came from there. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe there was one in no shape or form. You're just trying to make it real as to explain your concern, as to say now you have to be doing this sticky, dicky that you just did to a bunch of people and many, saying was put to sleep, just like a dog. You know what I'm saying? Around the world, the study, infectious pathogens and concerns were also raised by many of the 25,000 local residents, which one said online, how is it that they did not know? Question number one is the best one of all and the truest in its form, same as we see with everything else they have done, to during Donald Trump's reign and before his reign, and even now after he's been cheated out of the reign. And he's asking the question, how is it that they did not know? So many businesses come in and pay, you know what I'm saying? So many businesses comes in and pay, and that it is no follow up. Really, someone needs to answer to this. Another added, "This is this is this is more to it." No, I'm sorry. Another one said in his comment, or whoever he is, said, "There's more to it. We just know what they want us to know, and that's a fact." You know what I'm saying? And that's a fact to crack back. I don't feel like they kept me safe. Kept you safe how? when you have freedom everywhere and everybody's so free and everybody just going around doing everything they want just because you spend the money, open a business and jump, ting, tong, ping, there you go, these motherfuckers. And then they open stores and underneath the stores they're chopping up little kids and feeding it back to you. You know what I'm saying? We have to start to pay more close attention because anytime they was able to do this nastiness, you know what I'm saying, in our country or anywhere in the planet Earth, including their own, is not a good thing at all to be fucking around with no biological piece of shit. Let's just be frank and straight up.